Let's go! Wonderly!
Howdy, hey there, kids! I'm your teacher Marian, and welcome to this week's Wonder League online service. I am so happy to get to see you all here with me today. Anyways, do you kids still remember what we learned from last week? Oh, if I remember correctly, we learned about how we should continue to believe in the promises of God. For His plans for us are not to harm us, but to give us a hope and a future. Speaking of things that we learned actually, while you kids are free to share with us your takeaways during our Heroes Assembly, we will actually be hearing the takeaways of Aaliyah. So, take it away, Aaliyah.
Hi everyone, my name is Aliyah Sarah. Today I will be sharing takeaways from last Sunday's lesson. What I learned is that God always keeps His promises. God has perfect timing, never early, never late. It takes a little patience and a whole lot of faith, but it's worth the wait. So let's always choose His heart, okay? Bye!
Thank you so very much, Aaliyah, for your lovely takeaways. It's so nice actually to get to see what you kids learn from these. Anyways, now we are moving on to our announcements. For the announcements this week, I'm actually just going to be reminding y'all of our schedule postings. So let's do that. On Mondays, remember that we will be having our Power Verse. On Tuesday, we will be having our takeaways. On Wednesday, our Wow Word. On Thursday, we will be having our worksheets. And on Friday, we will be having our answers to those worksheets. Also, for any of you kids who have missed the worksheet answers, no worries, for we will be flashing it on screen right now. By the way, I would just like to give a quick thank you to Teacher Donna for creating these worksheets and the worksheet answers. Anyways, moving on to Saturday, we will be having our prelude, and Sundays, where of course we will be having our Wonder League service, which is right now, by the way, kids. Oh, and not just that actually. We will also be having our Heroes Assembly right after. So don't forget to tune into that Zoom call so we'll get to see those lovely faces of yours. And so you can also share with us your takeaways, and we'll get to play some fun games after. Isn't that exciting, kids? Yeah, it sounds exciting to me at least. Anyways, that's about it for our announcements. And in just the right time, because we will now be having our praise and worship. So why don't we stand up, raise our hands, and be ready to praise God.
Each thread inside my tapestry was made by you and meant for me. You wove me with your hands. You create, you orchestrate. If life's a picture, you're the frame. You're God, you're the great I am. tapestry was made by you and meant for me. You wove me with your hands. You create, you orchestrate. If life's a picture, you're the frame. You're God, you're the great I am. You go in the wild with me. You're the lantern for each step I take. Yeah, I know I don't have to be afraid. Never let go. 'Cause you love me so relentlessly. Never gonna stop coming after my heart. Never ever gonna stop coming after my heart. Heart. Never gonna stop coming after my heart. Never ever gonna stop coming after my heart. Heart. Never gonna stop, never gonna never stop coming my heart. Never gonna stop, never stop coming my heart. Never gonna stop, never gonna ever stop coming my heart. Never gonna stop, never gonna never stop coming my heart. Your love is endless, your love is for me. Pull me closer to your heartbeat. Your love is endless, your love is for me. Pull me closer. Never gonna stop coming after my heart. Never ever gonna stop coming after my heart. Heart. Never gonna stop coming after my heart. Never ever gonna stop coming after my heart. Heart. Never gonna stop, never gonna ever stop coming my heart. Never gonna stop, never gonna never stop coming my heart. Never gonna stop, never gonna never stop coming my heart. Never gonna stop, never gonna never stop coming my heart.
Thank you to our worship team for giving us yet another amazing praise and worship. Anyways, now that we're back here again, kids, let's grab our notebooks, grab our pens, and of course, grab our Bibles as we welcome Pastor Ian, who will be giving us this week's word. Take it away, Pastor Ian.
What's up, Wonder League? Last week, we were able to make our vision board. In that vision board, we were able to write things down, our desires, our hopes, our dreams, and the things that we want for our lives to happen this year. Might be for our family, our school, needs that we have. And so, that's good, that's good. But my question is, so that it's all there, it's all written down there. Maybe you guys were able to draw pa, di ba? But my question is, now what? Now what? It's like me remembering that ending in the movie Finding Nemo. Do you remember that? When all those fishes were able to escape from the aquarium and got into the ocean, but still they are stuck inside that plastic bag?
Barbara, I don't understand it. Here this thing has a lifetime guarantee and it breaks. I had to clean the tank myself, take all the fish out, put them in bags and... Where'd the fish go?
Come on, Pete!
Come on, you got it, that's it.
Just a little
You
further.
can do it.
That's the shortest red line I've ever seen.
Come on, Peach.
Oh.
Now what?
So now what? They were thinking about and asking that question to each other. Now what? What are the steps really on how they'll be able to fully be free? So there. Next thing for us, as we have written down all those visions and dreams that we have in our vision board, and asking this question, okay, Lord, now what? So that's where I will come. That's where I will help you guys. I will teach you and I will share with you guys just some 3 steps on what to do next. Number 1, take down notes, okay? Pray. Of course we pray. Of course we declare God's promises for those for those things that we have written down. Pray that it is also along with His plans and His purposes for us in this year. Prayer is also like watering the seed that you have planted, because those visions is also like seeds that we have planted. Of course, when you planted those seeds, what do you need to do next? You need to water it. And it will progress only when you water it. It will only grow when you water those seeds of visions. You pray to God. Number 2, believe. Yes, of course. You need to continue to believe. Believe that God can. Believe that He will. Believe that He is the one who will really make it happen for you and for your family. Not us, not in our own way, of course, but in God's ability, in God's capability, in God's power, in God's might. It is in His will on what you have written down there, of course, and if it goes along, if those goes along with God's will, then continue to believe. He can say no to that for sure, because it's His will anyway. Because it is also what He wants. Remember, if that is what He wants for you, you are only just believing and saying the things that He wants for you. We have this saying, His will, His bill. Or His vision, His provision. If He's the one who gave that vision to you, then He'll take care of what you need to fulfill those visions. He wants you blessed. He wants you healthy. He wants you strong. He wants you safe. He wants you protected. He wants for you to have food in your table, to have clothes that you wear, to go to school that you like, and to also have family and friends that loves you. And of course, a COVID-free country, so that we can go to the malls, parks, resorts, hotels, and even to our friend's house. So believe in Him continuously. Believe in the promises and the vision that God has given to you. For sure, if that is His will, He will make it happen. For sure, it shall come to pass. So that He will really do those things, good things, to make it happen into your lives. Are you ready for number 3? This is number 3. Live it. It's not L-E-A-V-E, but L-I-V-E. You have to live that. You have to live it with confidence on what you have listed down, prayed in, and believe in. Continue to trust in the Lord for what He had promised you. There was this group in the Bible, in the Old Testament, and God has promised them, God gave them a vision, and God has promised them that they will have and they will be in the promised land. Take a look at this.
God's story. Joshua becomes leader. So part of God's story is about when Joshua became leader of God's family. And it goes like this. Remember how God rescued His family when they were stuck as slaves in Egypt? He made a path right through the middle of the Red Sea. He showed them where to go with a pillar of fire at night and a cloud during the day. He gave them water from rocks and sent food like rain every morning. Best of all, He promised to bring them to an amazing new home called Canaan. All they had to do was trust Him. But sometimes people have a hard time believing God will take care of them. So for a whole year, God's family worried and complained. They felt they never got to the promised home where they would be safe and comfortable. And even though God was taking care of them every day, they kept worrying that He'd stop. But their leader Moses trusted God with his whole heart. And one day, God told Moses to send 12 men into Canaan as spies to see how great it was. So Moses did, and one of those 12 men was Moses' helper, Joshua. He trusted God too. Well, Joshua and the other spies spent 40 days in Canaan. and they discovered that the new home was as good as God had promised. There was delicious food, water flowed nearby. It was paradise. It had everything God's family needed and wanted. There was just one tiny teeny problem. People lived there already. Big people. Big people who live in a big city called Jericho that was protected with a really big strong walls. And the people there did not plan to give up their home. So 10 of the spies came back terrified. They said, "We look like grasshoppers compared to the people there." When the rest of God's family heard that, they got scared too. They didn't want to go to the promised land anymore. But Joshua knew that no problem is too big for God. He and another spy named Caleb argued. If the Lord wants to give it to us, He will. After all, God had shown His family how powerful He was. But even though God had always provided for His family, they still chose not to trust Him. And because they made that choice, there was a consequence. God kept His whole family in the desert for 39 more years. So long that all the adults who chose not to trust God could take them to the new land, spend the rest of their lives in the wilderness. God kept taking care of them, of course, but life was nothing like it would have been in the promised home. The good news is, there was a blessing for Joshua and Caleb's obedience. They did live long enough to get to Canaan. See, God always keeps His promises. So eventually, He took His family into the promised land, and God chose a new leader to take them there, a guy who would trust Him with his whole heart, like Moses had. Yup, Joshua. And that's the story of when Joshua became the leader of God's family. So in case you miss it, here's a quick version. God took care of His family. He promised them a new home. They had to trust Him. 12 spies visited Canaan. People already lived there. Joshua and Caleb trusted God. Most of God's family got scared. God's family stayed in the desert. God kept His promise. Joshua got ready to lead God's family into the promised land. And that's a part of God's story. The end.
So guess what, guys? We can all relate to that story right now. As if we are all in the wilderness as well. This wilderness caused by COVID-19. You see, those Israel people have been promised by God when God gave them a vision that they will be at that promised land. All that they have to do is to pray, believe, and live out. Pray that God will give them more strength and stuff to take the promised land. Believe also that it shall be given to them no matter what. Then live every day knowing that that God is on their side and they are on their way to that promised land. Because it is God's vision for them after all. His vision, His bill. His vision, His provision. God's will, God's bill. Awesome, isn't it? He'll make it happen. He'll be the one to give it to you and to me. So that is how we should do it as well. We have to write down things as we have written those visions and goals for this year. And also, you guys made drawings and artworks or even layout, right? Then afterwards, this is what we should do next. That vision or those visions that God has given to you, to your family, for your school, for your future, those are His promised land to you. Therefore, He'll be the one to fulfill those. So now what? What now? 1, pray. Thank God for those and continuously pray so that He can guide you and give you the strength and the capacity that you need to take those. And then number 2, believe. Believe that it shall come to pass. Believe that you can have it, that God will give it to you. And believe that you can take it and you can do it. Number 3, live out. Live out in that confidence that you are standing in His promises, His will, His bill, and His vision, His provision. that he who began a good work in you, he will be faithful to complete it. That having no fear, worries, or anything that bothers you, whatever these circumstances or whatever problems that we face in our lives, walk towards that provision, walk towards that promised land, towards your success, towards blessings, towards health, towards future. Do your part also in making those things happen. Keep safe, study well, help your parents with your household chores, and mask on, of course, when you go out, if you are allowed. And that is also how you guys will be able to walk in it. Work through it, through that promised land that God has given, and live it out with confidence that He, our God, that gave us that vision, will be the one to make those things into reality. Those visions and dreams and plans and prayers and requests and petitions and desires that we have in our hearts for this year 2022. All right, guys? Thank you. See you. Bye. I'm out.
Thank you so much, Pastor Ann, for giving us yet another wonderful word. I sure do hope you kids were able to pick up something from that. It doesn't even need to be that deep. My takeaways are as simple as just remembering to pray for, believe in, and live out the promises that God has given us. Though with that being said, I can't wait to hear what your kids' takeaways are during our Heroes Assembly. Speaking of, we take prayer requests during our Heroes Assembly. So if you kids ever need us to pray for anything, just tell us then so that we can all pray for it together. Alright? Alright. Now let us move on to our power verse, which will be led by the wonderful Marcus. Let's take it away, Marcus.
Jeremiah 29 verse 11. For I know the thoughts I think towards you, says the Lord. Thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29 verse 11.
I love your energy, Marcus. Thank you so very much for leading our power verse. And as for you kids at home, thank you so much for joining us for this week's Wonder League service. It's been a pleasure having you, and I can't wait to see you all again during our Heroes Assembly. I can't wait to hear what you guys learned. Anyways, that's about it. Remember to keep praying, to wash those hands of yours, and to help your parents with their household chores. Alright, kids? Bye-bye. I'll see you very soon.